With the Los Angeles Lakers losing the first round 4-1, I mean, there's a lot of talks about LeBron James and whether or not he's going to retire next season or he's going to come back for another year or maybe even two. And Charania basically gives his 2 cents and what he thinks LeBron James will do. And Shams is a pretty credible guy, so yeah, stay tuned for that. But what's up, y'all, and welcome back to another video. And, it's been a while. I took a week off. I need to take a little break. I need to watch my Warriors, man. It's been an intense series. I need to lock in on that and school. But we back on the grind now, and let's talk about some LeBron James because it's a big topic, and I've been seeing it a lot on Twitter recently. And as always, make sure you guys like the video and subscribe. It helps me out a lot, and yeah, let's get into it now. So obviously, like I just said in the intro, LeBron James lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 games in the first round, and that's not good looks, especially because, he's older and he's aging, so, him losing in that fashion might lead to a retirement. And another stat that I saw was that LeBron James is 2-12 in his last 14 playoff games, which is kind of insane to me, and I think insane to everybody, especially if they grew up watching LeBron James, because this guy never really loses in the playoffs. He's always having a good record there, and seeing him 2-12 is kind of insane. And something else I saw on Instagram, actually, is that when LeBron James is on the court, he is -41 in the plus-minus category, and when he's off the court, they're +8. This could be a cherry-pick stat because, when LeBron James is off the court, most of the time, it's either he's getting rest in crucial moments or the team's blown out and not having a lead during that time, so it wouldn't even matter if he was on the court or not. So it could be a little bit of a cherry pick stat there, but it's just kind of interesting to see because they're -41 when he's on the court. Obviously, that's not just his fault because that's the whole team, because when he's on the court, most of the other starters are on the court as well. But, it's just something interesting to see. And speaking of the other Lakers starters, Luka Doncic also had a rough series. He had some good point performances, but there's also some times on defense where you just look like a cone out there. But I just feel like, Luka Doncic on your roster is a good sign for the Lakers going forward because he's a good young player. He's in the middle of his prime right now, and he's going to have a lot of good years. So the Lakers fans should not really worry about that. Their future is in good hands here. And Luka Doncic also recently just said, and I quote, "It's been amazing," when talking about being a Laker. So, Luka Doncic is going to be there for a while. He seems happy there, and unless they pull a Nico Harrison, Luka Doncic and the Lakers should have a good long-term, career together. So there's that. But now let's talk about LeBron James and his potential retirement, because Shams gave his thoughts, and I'll play that for you guys in just a second. But before we do that, there's actually a few quotes from LeBron James's post-game interview, the last game, I guess game 5 of the series, and I think they're actually pretty interesting. As the first one says, LeBron James and the Lakers not having a center. This is what he says in quote, "No comment. My guy Anthony Davis said what he wanted, and he was gone the following week." And just a little backstory on this, Anthony Davis was always wanting to say how he wanted to play the 4, and he wanted to have a 5 next to him, and the Lakers never ended up doing that. They traded him for Luka Doncic, which, I guess it looks like a good trade for the Lakers right now, but after that first round series, we don't really know for sure. But, the Mavericks aren't in really good position right now either with all the injuries, so, that's a whole different conversation. But LeBron's basically saying how my guy Anthony Davis said what he wanted, which was a center, and the Lakers never ended up doing that, and they traded him away. So, LeBron's basically saying, okay, if I ask for a center, they might trade me away. Obviously, it'll never happen, but he's kind of just poking at Pelinka here. I'm not really sure exactly what LeBron James is trying to get at, but it's just something interesting to see, and you guys can interpret it in your own way, but that's just kind of how I see it. And another thing I saw on Twitter was LeBron James to Bronny as he left the locker room, and it said, "Have a good offseason. See you when I see you." I don't really know exactly what this means. You can interpret it in your own way as well. But, LeBron James obviously doesn't live with Bronny anymore. So, he could just be saying, bye until I see you next for, whatever dinner or whatever a father and son do nowadays. But, I don't really know if we should take this too wholeheartedly, because this could just be how Bron and Bronny talk to each other. And, some people are speculating saying that, LeBron's not going to work out in the offseason with the Lakers and he might be considering retirement. So that's why he said that. But I just don't believe that. I just feel like it's some father-son type of talking conversation here. So I wouldn't take that too serious, but it's just something to note because people have been talking about it a lot on Twitter. And something else that I thought was kind of funny was Paul Pierce said it's time for the Lakers to move on from the LeBron James era. And his quote goes, "If the Lakers want to get back to being a championship contender, you have to get out of the constraints of the LeBron James era," which I think is kind of funny because LeBron won them a ring. Obviously, it was 5 years ago, but he still did that. And LeBron still led them to playoffs for the last 4 or 5 years, 4 or 3 years, I guess now. I think Paul Pierce is just saying this to kind of poke media attention because why would he say this? LeBron James is still LeBron James, and it's not like LeBron James is really hurting their team. He had a pretty solid series. He obviously wasn't his old LeBron self, but he still put up 25 a game probably. That was his averages because he had that one really big 38-point game, and they still lost, but he still had a good game. So, he's still putting up all-star numbers in the series. He's just obviously not the same, 2018 Bron that we know, but he still played good. So I don't know why Paul Pierce is saying this. I think he's just trying to poke some things at LeBron James in the media. And I feel like he also doesn't really have the best relationship with LeBron James because, that Lakers or that Celtics Cavs rivalry and that Celtics Miami Heat rivalry. But at this point, Paul Pierce is what he is, and he's just going to say what he wants. But I think it's just something interesting to note as well. But now for Sham's official opinion on this topic and whether he thinks LeBron James is going to retire or not. And I mean, Shams is very credible. He obviously knows a lot when it comes to NBA. He's one of the top insiders in the whole world. And, I feel like whatever he says should be taken seriously. So yeah, I'm gonna play a clip from him. It's kind of long, so I'll put a timestamp where to skip to if you guys aren't trying to watch the whole thing. But yeah, let's watch the video now.
There's no expectation for LeBron James to retire. I will say that. My understanding is he will play at least another NBA season. You think about next year, 2025, 26. It'll be year 23 that would set a league record. Year 23 for number 23. The All-Star game is in Los Angeles. He's potentially playing in Los Angeles. There's a lot of stars that would align for next season, potentially, if that's what LeBron James decides. He'd be 41 years old in December. He's 40 years old right now. So the expectation is he's going to be playing at least another season. But again, how long? And the other thing, Pat, is does the Bryce James, his son, does that factor play into it at all? His son is going to be potentially draft eligible in 2026.
So essentially what Shams is saying here is how he expects LeBron James to play for at least one more season, and he'd be surprised if not. And there's a lot of factors that come into it because the Lakers are going to be hosting the All-Star game. I guess Los Angeles has the All-Star game there. And also it's going to be LeBron James' 23rd year. So, it kind of just all has the stars aligning to LeBron James retiring next season, which would be at least cool to see him for one more year. But Shams also hinted that, LeBron James could play for more years because his son, Bryce James, would be eligible for the NBA draft in 2026. So LeBron James would play 2 more years maybe and play with both of his sons. That could be cool. Who really knows exactly if Bryce is good enough to be in the NBA draft because, he obviously had a worse high school career than Bronny, and Bronny was like the second to last pick in the NBA draft last year. So we'll see there. But, we're basically confirmed that LeBron James will probably play at least one more year because all the stars aligned for next season to have his retirement or farewell tour. It makes a lot of sense. So, expect to have LeBron James around for one more season, which I feel like you guys are happy. I'm happy. It would be cool to see him for at least one more last dance. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. Let me know if you guys think Shams was right here and you think he will stay for one more year. Or let me know if you think LeBron James is going to retire. Who really knows there? But yeah, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe, do that stuff. And yeah, we out.